In January, Virginia became the 38th state to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment, making it unconstitutional to discriminate on the basis of sex. Yeah, turns out that wasn't already in there. And it may have taken over a century, but that's finally enough states to add the amendment to the Constitution. So we did it, ladies! I even feel more equal. What's that? It doesn't count? You've got to be kidding me. The Equal Rights Amendment has been debated back and forth since it was first proposed in 1923, just 3 years after the 19th Amendment was approved. That amendment said the right to vote could not be abridged or denied on the basis of sex. But suffragettes, including Alice Paul and Crystal Eastman, wanted more. They wrote an amendment where all rights would be protected. Keep in mind this is the 20s, long before Title IX protected women's education rights and the Lilly Ledbetter Act protected equal pay. Actually, had this passed in the 20s, those probably wouldn't have been necessary. But those are just laws subject to change much easier than that of a constitutional amendment. But again, it's 1923, and Congress was mostly men, so it never got approved. Flash forward to the 1960s, people across the country were fighting for civil rights, and the decade also brought a new second wave of feminism. And suddenly, 40 years after the amendment was proposed, it was getting attention again. So in 1971, Representative Martha Griffiths reintroduced the amendment to Congress. The amendment passed in the House in 71 and then was approved by the Senate in 72. After approval, Congress set a deadline. The amendment needed to be ratified by 3/4 of the states. That's 38 states in 7 years. The 7-year deadline is the standard deadline Congress has put on amendments since Prohibition. And it looked like it was going to pass. By 1977, 35 states had ratified the ERA. Both parties supported it. But then it all went down the tubes. Meet Phyllis Schlafly. Phyllis was one of the most well-known conservative thinkers of the time, and she led a big campaign against the ERA, particularly targeting middle-class housewives. If this passes and your husband divorces you, no alimony, your husband will take your children and you'll be drafted into the military, there'll be men in the ladies' room. I've heard that one before. But it wasn't just conservatives. Labor leaders feared it might cut workplace protections for women. Anyway, the campaign against the ERA worked, as fear usually does, and the state ratifications grinded to a halt. By 1979, the amendment was just 3 states shy of approval. Congress even extended the deadline by 3 years, but it was no use. The momentum was gone, and the state ratifications needed, they never came. And since 1982, Congress has never revisited an extension. Until now, Full House isn't the only thing to come back from the 80s. In the last few years, the rise of the Me Too movement has inspired a new wave of feminism, and with that, more states suddenly wanting to ratify the ERA. It passed in Nevada in 2017, Illinois in 2018, and this year, Virginia became the 38th state to ratify the ERA. So, are we done? LOL, nope. State attorneys general have filed lawsuits about the ERA. Democrats to have the amendment certified, and Republicans, such as Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall, to block it. Some hope that they can get around the 1982 deadline, but the Supreme Court has ruled long ago that the Congress has the absolute right to set deadlines, though it's unclear if they are allowed to extend the deadline. The House voted very recently to eliminate the 1982 deadline, but experts say they don't expect it to pass the conservative Senate. And even if it did, changing deadlines after ratification is still undecided under the Supreme Court. And that's not taking into consideration the 5 states that revoked their ratification. Even Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a lifelong proponent of equal rights protections, says it might be best just to start this whole thing over. So yeah, it's kind of a mess. For Reckon, I'm Abbey Crain.